Well, there you have it. 3-0 to Aston Villa. Absolutely abject from the Arsenal. That was a real gut punch, a real step back. We're going to take a little review. We're going to talk through it. Stay tuned. This is Blog on Your Gunners. Thanks for listening. Well, where do we start with a performance like that? That was, fair to say, as bad as we have been. Undoubtedly, the worst we've been under Mikel Arteta. This is the sort of thing we used to see under Unai Emery, and to be honest, I don't think I saw us as comprehensively outplayed by a team so far below us under Emery than what I saw today from Villa. Credit to Aston Villa, they were superb. From the outset, I think the writing seemed to be on the wall. We never really got a foothold in the game, and we were poor all over the pitch. To a man, there wasn't really a positive to take from this game. We didn't defend well. We weren't good in the midfield. We weren't good up top. The movement was poor. The marking was poor. There's nothing here that you can reasonably say, this was good, this was acceptable, this we can build on. It was one of those performances that I think you have to screw up into a ball and throw into the dustbin of history because it was that bad. Where do we start? First half, we were fortunate, I think, to get away with a disallowed goal. If you're saying to me that, okay, Xhaka's goal was disallowed against Leicester, so that goal should be disallowed, fair enough. But no warnings were taken from that first goal. The movement was really good from Villa for that. They worked it well, we were passive, and we were punished for it. I thought from there it might change us. I thought it might be a one-off, but it really wasn't. Villa did that to us all night. Grealish and Barkley ran the show in the midfield, and we had no answer to it from a creative perspective. And from a defensive perspective, we had no answer to it. We couldn't get near either of those boys. They're undoubtedly talented. I don't think anyone in their right mind denies that. But the way they dominated Arsenal tonight was extraordinary. I think it's a kind of performance I would love to have seen, and the fans would love to have seen from this Arsenal side. A kind of performance we've been longing for. What we've had from Arsenal is what we got tonight, and much worse. You know, we were turgid. We didn't create anything of note, of substance. And that which we did create, we spurned. We'll come on to those chances a bit later. We're on the first half at the moment. But when Villa did eventually take the lead, I don't think you can say it was against the run of play. I think it was warranted and it was justified. I think they were playing smart football. They were using the space well. They were running well from deep. And they were onto our back four in a way that I certainly haven't seen since the Emery days, when teams used to walk in on the back four in one or two balls. We saw that again tonight. Now I think the exit of Thomas Partey was a nightmare for us. It would be difficult for any side. Let me make that clear. Because he's such a good player. He's a Champions League player playing in a Europa League side. And when we lost him for the second half, things deteriorated. I thought a change was needed for the second half. And when I saw Ceballos was coming on, I wasn't averse to it. I thought El Neni might make way. That's not to cast aspersions on El Neni. He was fine. But that it was Partey coming off for injury and no other changes were made was quite staggering to me, given that Willian and Lacazette were pretty bad in those first 45. Lacazette has been struggling for not just weeks, he's been struggling for 18 months in terms of his finishing, his running, his passing, his hold-up play. It's just not there. You can't question that the guy's putting in 100%, and you know that Mikel admires that, and that's probably why he keeps getting the nod. But he's missed some real sitters, and the header he misses from Tierney's cross at 1-0 down a few minutes short of half-time is pretty inexcusable. It's not a chance he could afford to miss, and we could afford to miss, as it transpired. I'm not saying we were good, I'm not saying we'd have won, but goals change games, and it certainly would have changed Villa's game. And instead, a tame, pathetic effort, not even on target. And worse than that, he stays on for the second half, and he gets no better, frankly. He gets no better, to the extent that he's hooked shortly after the hour mark. And that wasn't the wrong decision. That should have been done earlier. And I think after the international break, we have to really look at Alex Lacazette as to whether he deserves a period on the bench and give someone else a go through the middle. I know Eddie Nketiah's not the same physical presence that Lacazette has, but I don't think it's working for him. And I think a discussion needs to be had about where we go from here with Lacazette, because I don't see him coming out of this slump anytime soon. Willian, I've defended. I thought he hadn't been as bad as many people thought. I thought he was he was steady before this game. I thought he was fine, 6 out of 10 fine. I thought he'd grow into the side, build into the side as he was adjusting to what Mikel wanted him to do. But he was pretty bad tonight. And I think a decision needs to be made on him for when we get back from the break, because he really wasn't good. And after the halftime break, he missed a very good chance. Left foot or not, he's not even hit the target. He drags it straight out for a corner. And that was a really bad miss, and symptomatic of a guy who is struggling now and who probably needs some adjustment time, and to make way for someone who is going to do a little bit more, who's going to be a little bit more effective and productive, and it's going to bring something to this team and put chances away when we need them, because even at that point we're 1-0 down, goals change games, and who knows what might have happened from there. But as it is, we missed 2 good chances, and Villa didn't. Villa put everything away that came their way tonight. They were excellent. I take nothing away from them. Where we go from here, I don't know. It is frustrating that we have almost 2 weeks now to stew on this and to fester on what was a really bad performance. Normally after a defeat you're itching to get back in the saddle and go again, but this is one that we're going to have to sit and ruminate on for a while. I don't think there are quick fixes to this, but I do say that I hope we don't fall to pieces from here. I hope we don't slip back into the sort of malaise we saw under Unai Emery, when a few bad results really knocked the team. I think we're better than what we saw tonight. I'm not quite sure why we were so bad, whether it was fatigue, whether it was... I don't know. I don't know what it was, but we were really bad, and I would like to think that's a 1 in 20, 30, 40 game sort of performance against the side who, coming into this, I really thought we should be getting some joy against. A side that lost back-to-back games and shipped a lot of goals despite scoring a lot. But those 2 chances that I mentioned decided, and perhaps a opportunity for Partey quite early in the first half, we created nothing again. We don't seem to be able to get out of this torpor in the middle of the park. We'd seen some improvement from Arsenal in the Europa League on that score, but nothing doing here. Different calibre of opposition and back to the same old problems. There's a lot of thinking to do for Mikel. Now, from what I hear on the TV, our start to the season, 8 games, 4 wins, 4 losses. Okay, we take into account that we've played Liverpool, Manchester City away. But the 2 other games we've lost, we really should not have been losing. And it's not a great start. I think if we're frank, if we're honest, I think if we looked at those fixtures, we would have expected a bit better than 4 defeats in 8. We might have written those City and Liverpool games off, however well we did against them last year. But we would certainly have looked at ties against Leicester and Villa at home and thought, we can get some points here. And we've checked our own momentum and really missed the chance to get up that league going into the break and to put ourselves in a strong position and to progress and move on. I don't think anyone expected us to be at the top of the league. I think that's unreasonable at this stage, but I think we should be seeing better. I don't think it's unreasonable to have expected better from this team. Particularly against opposition like Villa, who last year only just missed out on relegation, just avoided it on the last day, and 4 or 5 months later they've turned it around to the extent that they took us to the cleaners. A top 6 team, or a team that has top 6 aspirations, should I say at this point, was absolutely and thoroughly outplayed, and that's really not good. So the pressure, I think, just a little bit on Mikel, maybe for the first time in his tenure, and some questions to answer as to why we were so bad, why we seem to have taken a step back from really coming into the game on the back of a great win against Manchester United. Nobody can take that away from us. But why we showed no resilience, no creativity, no spark, no fight, no passion. Why we were so bad with the chances we had. Why we were so readily exposed. All good questions for Mikel to consider. Now, this one isn't the end of the world. A win is never the solution. A defeat is never the end. But it's a real blow to a fledgling side and a fledgling manager who had shown a lot of promise and a lot of progress. We need to come back from this stronger, but we need to learn some lessons here. We need to put some things to bed, and we need action. We can't keep going back to our old favourites. We need to try something a bit different. And here's hoping that Mikel uses his time off to improve, because we can't do that again. That's it for tonight, guys. I think I'm going to drink this and sleep this one off. I'm going to take tomorrow off because I'm too traumatised to work now, having seen that horror show on our own pitch. Thanks for staying up and tuning in. Thanks for sticking with it. Remember to hit that like button, hit that subscribe, give us a retweet, leave us a question, and look out for a blog tomorrow. Hopefully, if I wake up and this isn't a nightmare, I'll write a few words. But for now, good night. Thanks a lot.